Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm so honored to be able to join you today. I want to thank the team at Dance USA, your work to bring us all together, and congratulations on your 35th anniversary. We're so appreciative of the way that you serve the field of dance as educators and advocates, and the National Endowment for the Arts is so proud to have worked with you together for over the past 35 years to help America have opportunities to engage with your work in so many ways. I also want to acknowledge and congratulate Doug Sontag. Is he here today? Yeah, oh good, there's that. There's that voice, and 3 of our wonderful staff as well. But I want to congratulate Doug for receiving the Dance USA Trustees Award yesterday evening. So Doug retired from the National Endowment for the Arts a few months ago, back in March, where he led our dance division. He started at the NEA in 1986 when Martha Graham and Robert Joffrey were members of the NEA's National Council on the Arts, and it was the year before Axis Dance Company was founded. It was when the Mark Morris Dance Company was 6 years old, when Misty Copeland was 4 years old. And Doug's leadership and vision has helped to shape the world of dance in America. We're so gratified to be able to see his contributions recognized by the field of dance. Doug, congratulations. We miss seeing you around the office. The conference is kind of a homecoming for me, as Amy mentioned, since I was here at the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts before joining the National Endowment for the Arts, and was particularly here during construction, so I had hard hat hair for 5 years. But during my time here, I would occasionally think, what's that one single production that we could bring to the Kaufman Center that everybody would love? After all, it would be so much more efficient to be able to identify that single work and just present it over and over again. But of course, there isn't one, and thank goodness there is not. A production that I might enjoy personally might not be the same production you would enjoy, and that's the great thing about the arts. Not everybody participates in the arts in the same way, but there is something for everybody, and that is certainly true for dance. From ballet to hip-hop to jazz and modern and Bharatanatyam and step dancing and flamenco and rain dance. And we're seeing across the nation that dance forms are intersecting with one another, and they're creating even hybrids that highlight the field's innovation and creativity. And I know from many of you that one of the approaches that you focus on is finding ways to allow individuals to discover their interests, feel connected to dance, and understand that dance belongs to them. So it's not just a matter of getting people in the door to see a performance, it's about creating that experience that's relevant to their lives and providing opportunities for people to become moved and inspired or even transformed. And this is the type of approach that the National Endowment for the Arts takes to be able to broaden and deepen participation and to support those conditions where dance can be created and performed more optimally. So since 1966, the National Endowment for the Arts has awarded over $270 million through our dance program, and in 1967, the NEA provided funding for the Association of American Dance Companies. That was the predecessor to Dance USA. And these NEA grants have helped launch careers of choreographers such as Alvin Ailey and Martha Graham and Jose Limon, Mark Morris, Merce Cunningham, Paul Taylor. And our grants continue to support the next generation of choreographers across the country. They've helped high-quality professional dance companies expand beyond major cities. In the NEA's early years, it launched the dance touring program, which lasted a total of 400 weeks. And by 1974, 94 dance companies had reached audiences in 48 states and 2 U.S. jurisdictions, and it sent out the message that all Americans, no matter where they live, can have access to dance, and it is important. And we've seen the ways that Americans participate in the arts and they're expanding. So we used to look mostly at participation in the traditional art forms, but now we're seeing participation in a wider range of art forms, and dance is one of the most diverse forms. There's been an increase in taking dance lessons. In 2012, about 17% of all American adults took dance lessons or dance classes, and that's compared with 12% of adults in 2008, 5 years earlier. And of all the art forms, dance learning experienced the largest jump in increased participation levels across America. We know that social dancing was one of the most common ways to participate in any art form, and nearly 1/3 of all Americans participated in some form of social dancing, and this affirms what we know intuitively, that dance is an essential part of everyday life and an innate part of human expression. I also want to thank you for your dedication to empowering dance creativity for the future. And so in addition to honoring the repertoire, the known repertoire that dancers and choreographers also need to keep creating, whether this is related to new work or new varieties of the classics, many of you are also finding ways to build into your programs this environment that supports creativity through dance. At Ballet Austin, choreographers can use Ballet Austin dancers to experiment with their choreographic ideas as part of a mentorship program. And Hubbard Street Dance and the Nashville Ballet, many of you are also supporting emerging choreographers to create new work. We also have an opportunity to improve participation in dance from all walks of life, because we want to be able to invite more people into our performance spaces and ensure that they feel comfortable and welcome in the world of dance. And we've seen you leading the way when it comes to removing barriers to expand the ways people participate in dance, and supporting dance makers to have the time and the space and the energy needed to be able to create, and to prepare young artists entering the dance field to navigate challenges that might remain in place, and to nurture all dancers and choreographer voices, including artists of color, artists of varying abilities, emerging voices, because we know that this will be a benefit to all of us, whether we participate as performers or patrons or as a resident of the community, because we know that when the arts thrive, society also thrives. So consider the economic impact of dance. We know that the arts and culture sector makes up 4.2% of the nation's GDP, so that's nearly $730 billion. So creating dance generates incomes for performers and choreographers, and it generates income for performance venues, and the businesses nearby tell us that their own anecdotes, that they benefit from people stopping by before or after a performance. But dance is, as you know, far more than a contributor to economics. We know that the arts can serve as another vocabulary set to express ourselves beyond the use of linear, everyday conversations. And that makes dance so very special. Instead of dance serving just as an appendage to the use of words, dance takes front and center to express the message with no words, often with no words. So what about expanding the diversity of our audiences and artistic voices to be able to provide a window into new ways of seeing and thinking? And by having a variety of perspectives on stage and behind the scenes, and a wider range of people in the audience from all walks of life, we're seeing how dance can not only honor these differences, but celebrate them. And we're seeing an increase in how the arts, including dance, connects with subjects from other non-arts areas to take that same creativity and help others think out of the box, and to forge those innovative approaches to solve persistent challenges in new ways, even when those challenges might initially appear to be unrelated to the arts. So we can look at companies like the Kunyang Lin dancers in Philadelphia and their work with immigrant communities, where dancers meet with immigrant families near the performance space on South 9th Street in Philadelphia, and they learn and share the stories about coming to the United States and discussing what it means to be American. And then these same narratives shape the final dance production about immigration and assimilation. And then what about the Milwaukee Ballet Company's new work to deal with the subject of male depression? And what about the Collage Dance Theater in Los Angeles and their production of Fish Eyes to call attention to ecology and water preservation in Los Angeles? And then for years, Stuart Pimsleur Dance and Theater in Minneapolis has turned to the power of dance to work with stroke survivors and their caregivers and healthcare providers, military veterans, homeless populations. And these programs strengthen the physical and the emotional processes. And in working with these populations, the Stuart Pimsleur Company has also created community-based performances that feature program participants themselves. So what this shows us, and there are many more examples that you're doing, but it shows us that dance and the arts are not isolated in some ivory tower or separate from the rest of society. They touch every aspect of our lives, and they have a very special ability to illuminate new approaches and develop new solutions to old and tired problems. The arts are going to help us advance as a society, and I want to thank you here today for expanding the limits of our world through dance. We are so much richer, and we have a more meaningful life because of your work. Thank you.